It's really disturbing to think that Brick, who's always been this quiet, dependable guy, Sonny's go-to for strategy, might actually be able to be bought. It's more than just being convinced. We didn't really move it in a smart way. Got it. Just that rumor, it could totally mess up everything Sonny's put together. Sonny always valued loyalty above all else. And Brick was practically the only person whose loyalty he never had to question. But power changes things. When you're under a lot of pressure, your beliefs can really change. Things really get twisted once Brennan shows up. Brennan doesn't just do things without thinking. He doesn't make a big show of threats or just lash out without thinking. He studies. He's just waiting. He figures out the leverage. If Brennan went to Brick with a deal like, let's work together to get rid of Sonny, Brick might not see that as betrayal. We'd probably say it had to happen. Brennan didn't explicitly call for violence. He'd just make it seem like there was no other way. He'd say Sonny's whole operation is falling apart with the feds closing in, and to make it through, they need to adapt. Even Brick, who usually knows what's what, they might start to wonder where he stands when he's up against an intelligence network way stronger than his street ties. That's when things start to get really creepy psychologically speaking. Brick has always been the one behind the scenes, always messing with info, deflecting problems, and picking up on patterns before they even really happen. But even the sharpest minds can break if the pressure keeps coming. So if Brennan found something like some money problems or old spy stuff or even dirt on Brick's personal life, then Brick wouldn't really have a choice about the offer. It's like being forced to cooperate, but they're trying to make it look like a good chance. He had an opportunity to escape a crumbling empire before it pulled him down with it. The scary part isn't really the chance of violence. It might be possible to take it apart carefully. If Brick even quietly agrees to work with Brennan, Sonny won't see it coming. This won't be a shot in the dark. It's going to chip away slowly on purpose. Oh man, those intelligence leaks. They're a real messy business. You hear about them and just wonder how all that confidential info got out there. It really makes you think about how easily sensitive stuff can get exposed and what kind of fallout that causes. Someone got their wires crossed, that's for sure. A little behind the curve on that heads up. That file is gone. Just a few little tweaks can really mess with Sonny's defenses. Brennan wouldn't need Brick to pull a trigger. He needed him to stop something. This possible team-up would totally shake things up in Port Charles. It'd be a whole new level of obsession. It wouldn't be driven by vengeance or feelings. It would all be driven by a cold, hard shakeup of power. The thing is, Brennan wasn't just planning to arrest Sonny. It would help break down the idea that he's unbeatable. It's about showing that anyone, no matter how powerful, can be taken down if someone important switches teams. And Brick is the perfect piece of the puzzle. Sonny trusts him, that's why. Trust is the big unknown here. It could really mess things up. For a long time now, Sonny's really leaned on Brick's gut feelings, his calm advice, and his way of seeing what's coming next. If Brick starts holding back info or trying to subtly change the plan, Sonny's reactions will be delayed by seconds, and those seconds matter. The Empire, once so coordinated, might start to waver. In that world, if you hesitate, you're dead. It really gets to you, this obsession, especially when you think about how much betrayal hurts. Sonny stayed alive despite his enemies. He beat the charges. Getting betrayed by someone close wouldn't just make him weaker, it would mess with his head big time. If Brick isn't completely on his side, he'll start getting really paranoid. Every conversation will feel layered. Every silence feels suspicious. Brennan gets it. He understands that messing with Sonny's head can be just as effective as tearing down everything he's built. If Brennan really did ask for help getting rid of Sonny, that's a radical shift. Things have really changed. It's not simply a mob chasing federal authorities or vice versa anymore. It just turns into them sneaking in. It really messes with your head. Once you go there, you can't really come back from it without a mess. It's really Brick's inner struggle that makes his transformation so unsettling. If he agrees to go along with it, will he say it was just to survive? No one could stop that. Right? Is this about stopping more people from getting hurt? Is that the main goal here? Or is he starting to think that maybe Sonny's time has just passed? Your writing has to get better. Those questions would eat away at him. No matter how he tries to rationalize it, he can't escape the responsibility for what he's setting in motion. If Sonny gets even a whiff of us working together, things are going to get messy really fast. That trust they had, it's going to break apart in a very messy way. Breaking that trust would hurt way worse than getting arrested. Sonny's not one to let betrayal slide. Not from someone he really needed, Port Charles wouldn't just see a power change. Things would just fall apart. This whole thing about Brick being bought off, whether that's with cash, some kind of pressure, or even forcing him into it, really just kicks off a new period of things being super shaky. No team would feel safe. It means you should question everything, especially loyalty. That's what really makes it all feel so obsessive. Brennan's quiet maneuvering, Brick's possible compromise, and Sonny's blind spot all come together to create something much darker than just a turf war. It's like an empire getting taken apart from the inside, messing with everyone's heads. If Brick goes along with even part of Brennan's plan, getting rid of Sonny could already be happening. It wouldn't be some big loud thing, but just quiet. The real horror is found in that quiet. It's the quiet kind of betrayal that really hurts. It just waits. You know, if Sonny's getting isolated and doesn't even see it happening, things might just fall apart for him. Not with a bang, but with him waking up to it when it's already too late. The real question isn't if Sonny has enemies. He always has. So the real question is his closest friend about to be the thing that brings him down? So, if Brennan got his way and planted that little idea, Port Charles is in for a seriously spooky ride. It's a place where you can just buy someone's loyalty and big powerful families could crumble from within. What makes this whole thing even more wild is that Brick's past has always been a big question mark. That mystery isn't just a cool detail anymore. It could be the key to everything. Now folks really need to start thinking about if Brick's got more going on with the WSB than we thought. And a bigger question would be if there's some secret link between Brick and Brennan. If Brick really has been involved in intelligence before, we can't just ignore the idea that he might have been playing both sides. It's getting harder to tell the good guys from the bad guys these days, and that's a real problem. If Brick has any real ties to the WSB, it's pretty scary to think about he wouldn't actually be all in with Sonny. Even if he seems super loyal. That's why the rumor is so explosive, right? I mean, on the outside. Brick's always been seen as Sonny's reliable watchman, the quiet bodyguard who spots trouble coming a mile away. The same skills that make him so good for Sonny managing info-spotting patterns, knowing when to keep quiet, are exactly what would make him an ideal candidate to take Sonny down from the inside. This is where things get really sticky. Because fans start to wonder about something important: is Brick loyal because he wants to be? Or just because he has no other choice? And if the WSB really squeezed him, who would that loyalty even last? Here's the really scary thought. What if Brick is being forced to betray them? He might. To be stuck with no way out, knowing that if he doesn't do what Brennan and the WSB say, things will get really bad for him. Then there's this other side to it, and it makes the whole psychological thing even heavier. What if Brick really believes in Sonny? What if that conviction is so powerful that it's the one thing Brennan just can't see coming or manage? That kind of loyalty isn't just about feelings, it's smart business. So even if Brick is put on the spot, he could try to slow things down, mislead people, or play a smarter plan to keep Sonny safe, all while acting like he's going along with everything. If that's what's going on, it's not just Sonny who's in trouble anymore. The danger now turns back on you. The minute Brennan feels like he's actually in charge, the second he's convinced Brick is on his side. That's precisely when Brennan himself is on shaky ground. So if Brick has to pretend to betray Sonny but won't actually break their loyalty, then Brennan isn't getting a new friend for his team. What he's really doing is letting a double agent right into the middle of his whole scheme. All of a sudden, the trap they thought they set for Sonny might just end up catching Brennan instead. That's right where the story really gets going. Spinning out into something way more complex than just cops and robbers. It turns into a real war of wits, full of sneaky tricks and a relentless test of nerves. The numbers just keep piling up. When Brick and Brennan talk, there's always more going on than what they're actually saying. Every warning Brick gives or doesn't give is a choice that could decide who makes it through the next step. As things get more intense, the obsession really picks up. It's not just that people want to know if Sonny will be betrayed. It's more about how this theory keeps growing, hinting that Brennan could be heading for his own total downfall. If Brick is really as loyal to Sonny as everyone thinks, then Brennan's trying to push him might just go really wrong. Brennan could easily end up being the one in trouble, all from a plan he thought he had figured out. So for all of us GH fans, it really boils down to this burning question. Do you think there's actually something to this rumor? Or do you believe Brick is just too loyal to ever switch sides, so if he's being made to do it, could that forced betrayal actually be what takes Brennan down if Brick actually decided to go with Sonny? That wouldn't just change things a little in Port Charles, it would blow everything up. For weeks now, things have been getting pretty tense, all because of Brick's fuzzy past. There have been these hushed warnings, these half-baked admissions that he knows things he can't spill completely. And what's even more troubling is the growing sense that Brennan has been trying to get him to work together on. Something that could finally finish Sonny for good. But it's not simply that Brick is pressured, and that's the real shocker. The shocking thing is, when it really counts, he just won't back down. He picks Sonny, and it's not because he's blindly loyal. It's because he gets what Brennan is really about, someone who doesn't just want Sonny gone, but wants to completely remake Port Charles in his own way. The moment Brick chooses, Brennan's whole plan starts to fall apart. Suddenly, every move Brennan thought was a sure thing turned into a problem. He thought he was pulling all the strings, but now every one of those strings could actually lead right back to him. Like a tripwire. The original plan meant to corner Sonny actually backfired, laying bare Brennan's true influence. It revealed who he was working with, where he was vulnerable, and his ties to Sidwell and even Cullum's hidden hand. That's when the story really takes off, getting all intense. It stops being just about Sonny trying to stay alive and becomes something more. Can Sonny actually go from just surviving to being in charge? Brick picking Sonny really gives Sonny that clarity he's been looking for. This isn't just about gut feelings or little hints. It's solid info from someone who was right there, who heard the real story straight from the source. All of a sudden, Sonny isn't just reacting anymore. He's getting ready to hit back. Once Sonny gets the real facts, he doesn't just play defense, he goes on the attack. This really turns into something more. Brennan thought he could turn Brick into a weapon. Instead, Brick becomes the weapon that makes Brennan's strategy fall apart in front of everybody. Sidwell usually does well when things are messy and he can work behind the scenes. But now he's in a spot where being tough just won't cut it. Cullum had been pulling strings from behind the scenes, using his power and making sure he always had an out. But he's about to find out that even folks with a lot of sway in those agencies can get backed into a corner if the wrong people get their hands on the right kind of proof. It just gets crazier because Brennan, Sidwell, and Cullum have been treating Sonny like some old-school boss who's losing his grip. But the truth is, Sonny's a real survivor, the type who's actually most dangerous when folks don't take him seriously. Brick's loyalty offers Sonny a chance that might not happen twice, a single clear shot to take down a whole network, instead of fighting each enemy separately. What makes him so obsessed is that Sonny isn't just fighting for territory anymore. He's trying to stop the fighting. For good, to make the war end permanently. The whole thing really comes down to timing. Sonny's got this one big thing going for him. His enemies are totally convinced they're still in charge of the pace of everything. They simply don't. Brennan's plan blew up in his face. The same pressure he put on Brick turned into solid proof of a conspiracy against him. You can actually track Sidwell's violence. I'm starting to think Cullum's impact isn't quite what we thought. Sonny with Brick right there actually gets a shot to take out all three at once. One big play could save his whole business and remind everyone that he's still the guy in charge. The one no one can really get rid of. The thing that really sticks with you is that winning just won't feel right. It's gonna feel like a storm just broke. When Sonny finally gets it, when he sees just how close he was to being completely destroyed from the inside, simply getting by won't be enough for him. He just won't want to exist. He's going to want to make sure Brennan doesn't get a chance to do that again. Brick's decision really kicks everything off a true catalyst. It takes what scares you and turns it into a plan. Weaknesses become attacks, and doubts turn into something you're sure about. When Sonny finally gets what he wants, there's no stopping him. This twist, it's really something else, almost like a new obsession of mine. It doesn't just move the story along. It changes everything about how the characters feel and how their emotions connect. Brick isn't just watching anymore. He's the one holding everything together. Brennan isn't some mystery genius anymore. His brilliant plan just fell apart. Sidwell and Cullum aren't just far-off problems anymore, they're who we're going after. So Sonny, now knowing the truth, is right on the edge of a war. This might be his chance to not just win, but to end it for good.